People travel for sunshine. They seek warmth, relaxation, and the gentle caress of a tropical breeze. Beaches, the sound of waves and cocktails. Sensible, right? A perfectly logical pursuit of pleasure and comfort. Then there are those of us who look at a map and think, let's go to the Arctic in winter. Because who needs tan lines when you can have frostbite? We chase the northern lights, nature's screensaver, a celestial ballet of light and color, where your eyelashes freeze shut. A small price to pay for witnessing the universe put on a show, right? It's not just a trip, it's an extreme sport, a test of endurance against the elements. For people who find bungee jumping too warm, because why feel the adrenaline of a free fall when you can feel the slow, creeping numbness of hypothermia? The brochures show majestic ribbons of color swirling across a velvet sky, and stylish parkas, the kind that make you look like you're about to conquer Everest, not just walk to the nearest coffee shop. Reality? 3 tourists from Ohio, layered like onions, each layer representing a different stage of regret, fighting over a lukewarm thermos. The only thing standing between them and utter despair. For every stunning Instagram photo, a masterpiece of light and composition, there are 1,000 blurry shots of what looks like a greenish cloud, or maybe just lens flare, or just darkness. Lots of darkness. The kind of darkness that makes you question your life choices. Why did I, someone who thinks socks are a winter sport, do this? What possessed me to trade my cozy slippers for sub-zero temperatures? Maybe it was a bucket list, maybe a lost bet, a dare gone horribly, hilariously wrong, or just too many travel documentaries. Those seductive visions of the Arctic, promising adventure and wonder. See the Northern Lights always sits next to run a marathon, a testament to human ambition and questionable decision-making. And learn a new language, all things that sound better in theory, especially when you're sitting by a warm fire sipping hot cocoa. So, with more optimism than sense and a healthy dose of denial, I packed enough thermal socks to insulate a small house and set off. Because you can never have too many socks when facing the Arctic winter. The goal? Witness the Aurora borealis, a spectacle that has captivated humanity for centuries. The likely outcome? Frostbite, a souvenir you definitely don't want to bring home, pneumonia and a deep hatred for anything colder than room temperature. A hatred that might just be amplified tenfold. But hey, at least it would make a good story, right? A tale of triumph, or at least survival, against the odds. As I packed my 15th pair of socks, each one a tiny beacon of hope against the encroaching cold, I wondered if they made thermal underwear for your soul, because mine was already starting to feel a little chilly. My toes were already nervous, anticipating the icy onslaught to come. The adventure was about to begin, a journey into the heart of winter, and possibly the depths of my own sanity. The journey to Norway was an exercise in patience, endurance, and a surprising amount of discomfort. A true test of travel fortitude. Tiny airplane seats, feeling more like sardine cans than comfortable transport. Stale airport coffee, the kind that tastes vaguely of regret, and then, the cold. Oh, the cold. Stepping off the plane felt less like arriving in a new country and more like volunteering for a polar expedition. It felt like walking into a freezer. The air was aggressive, biting at any exposed skin like a slap from Jack Frost himself. My first thought, a very loud and desperate, "Nope, absolutely not. Can we turn the plane around, please?" But once my eyes stopped watering from the sheer shock of the temperature, Norway was undeniably, breathtakingly stunning. Snow-capped mountains that seemed to pierce the sky, dramatic coastlines carved by ancient glaciers, villages straight out of a Christmas card, so picturesque they almost felt unreal. And the prices! Oh my God, the prices! My wallet whimpered, then audibly screamed, at the cost of a single bottle of water. I'd packed enough thermal gear to outfit a small Arctic expedition, but still managed to look less like a seasoned explorer and more like the Michelin man's awkward, slightly embarrassed cousin. Norwegians, meanwhile, strolled around in light jackets, looking effortlessly cool, completely unfazed by the cold that was currently trying to turn me into a human icicle. Kids made snow angels with joyous abandon, while I wondered if frostbite would claim my nose as its first victim, causing it to simply detach and roll away. My internal thermostat was screaming bloody murder, staging a full-blown rebellion, and I was already scouting for the nearest radiator, or, failing that, a friendly, exceptionally fluffy husky to cling to for warmth. This wasn't just a holiday. This was something far more intense. It was a survival course in extreme conditions, and one I definitely hadn't signed up for, or even vaguely prepared for. Every step outside was a test of endurance, a battle against the elements, a personal Everest to conquer. The cold was relentless, an omnipresent force determined to break my spirit, but the scenery, oh the glorious scenery, was undeniably worth every single shiver, every chattering tooth. Norway. Beautiful, brutal, unforgiving, and definitely not a destination for the faint of heart, or those who dislike the sensation of their extremities slowly freezing. I was in for an adventure, a true test of my mettle, whether I was entirely thrilled about it or not. And despite all the layers, all the preparation, I still wasn't entirely sure if I'd packed nearly enough socks. The sock situation remained a significant concern. Navigating Norway, a land of stunning landscapes and unique customs, presented its own set of delightful challenges. Armed with my 2 words of Norwegian, takk and skål, which roughly translate to thanks and cheers, was, to put it mildly, a humbling experience. It quickly became clear that I was woefully unprepared for the nuances of Norwegian culture. Luckily, Norwegians speak English better than most Americans, which is both incredibly helpful for a linguistically challenged tourist like myself and also a little embarrassing. Their reserve is real. It's not just a stereotype, it's a palpable aspect of their social interactions. Coming from America, where strangers overshare in checkout lines, divulging their life stories to anyone within earshot, the quiet was noticeable. It was a stark contrast to the constant chatter I was accustomed to. Smiles get polite nods, a subtle acknowledgement rather than a full-blown greeting. Small talk? Not really a thing. Forget about discussing the weather or making idle chit-chat. Norwegians prefer a more direct approach. I felt like a golden retriever in a library, enthusiastically wagging my tail in a place where silence was golden. Then came the food, a culinary adventure that tested the limits of my palate. Lutefisk, cod treated with lye, looked less like a meal and more like a science experiment gone wrong, and tasted like one too. The texture was unique, and the flavor was certainly an acquired taste. Brunost, the famous brown cheese, was sweet, savory, and utterly confusing to my unsuspecting taste buds. My taste buds staged a protest, demanding familiar flavors and textures. Public transport, however, was a revelation, a shining example of efficiency and organization. Trains consistently on time, buses spotless and well-maintained, everyone seamlessly paying with an app on their smartphones. My attempt to use cash, a relic from a bygone era, got me a look like I'd tried to barter with seashells, a bewildered stare that spoke volumes about my outdated payment methods. Norway just works. It's a society that values order, efficiency, and technological advancement. It's efficient, orderly, and to be honest, a little intimidating for someone used to the beautiful, chaotic mess that is New York City. Sometimes I missed a little inefficiency, a delayed train, a misplaced item, just to feel at home, to be surrounded by the familiar comfort of controlled chaos. But mostly, I was in awe, marveling at the seamlessness of it all. The culture shock was real, a constant reminder that I was a visitor in a land with its own unique rhythm. But so was the admiration, a deep respect for a society that valued order, efficiency, and a quiet sense of community. Norway is a well-oiled machine, a testament to thoughtful planning and a commitment to quality, and I was just trying to keep up, attempting to navigate its intricate workings with my limited understanding. Every day was a lesson in adaptation, a crash course in Norwegian culture and etiquette, and in how many layers of clothing one human can wear at once, a crucial skill for surviving the Norwegian winter. I was learning, slowly, absorbing the nuances of Norwegian life, to embrace the Norwegian way, to appreciate the quiet moments and the understated elegance of their culture. Even if my pronunciation of fjord, that iconic Norwegian landscape feature, still made people wince, a clear indication that my linguistic journey was far from over. Chasing the Northern Lights means piling into a too-warm minivan with hopeful freezing tourists. Our Viking-esque guide, with the patience of a saint, would point to the horizon and say, "We go there, maybe lights, maybe not." The cold was relentless, soul-crushing, seeping through every layer. My toes surrendered first, then my fingers, then my camera batteries. I looked like a starfish in too many layers, unable to bend my arms. Camera failures were inevitable. Batteries died instantly, and my phone gave up before I did. The few photos I managed looked like abstract art, mostly black with a hint of, maybe that's a light. Our guide navigated icy roads to secret spots that all looked the same, dark, snowy wilderness. After hours of staring into the void, I started to wonder if the Northern Lights were just an elaborate prank on tourists. The waiting, hours of staring at a black sky, hoping for magic. You start seeing things. Satellites, planes, maybe a shooting star, but mostly nothing. The silence is profound, broken only by the crunch of snow as someone does jumping jacks to stay warm. We huddled together like penguins, united by shared suffering and rapidly fading body heat. Hot chocolate started warm, turned cold before you could finish it. My internal monologue: why am I here? I could be on a beach. False alarms were constant. A wisp of cloud, a distant headlight, a reflection, hope, then disappointment. This cycle repeated, testing everyone's patience. The group dynamic was fascinating. Optimists, pragmatists, and frozen cynics like me. Misery loves company, especially when everyone's shivering. We bonded over our shared discomfort. The Arctic night was long, cold, and oddly unifying, and still, we waited. Just as you're ready to give up, it happens. A faint, ethereal green whispers across the sky. It's not the Technicolor inferno from the brochures, but it's real. The Northern Lights. The initial reaction is awe mixed with, is that it? After hours of freezing, you expect fireworks. But even the subtle shows have a quiet magic. Cue the great selfie scramble, frozen fingers, blurry photos, and faces stuck in awkward grimaces. Most photos are just black or a vague green smudge behind a bundled-up figure. But then, you stop trying to capture it and just watch. The lights shift and shimmer, silent and ancient. For a moment, you forget the cold and the cost. There's wonder, relief, and a sense that you didn't freeze for nothing. It's not a life-changing epiphany, but it's something. The universe put on a show just for us. And for a little while that was enough. Mostly I was just glad my toes survived. Norwegian cuisine is an adventure. Reindeer pizza, lutefisk, and brown cheese. I skipped the reindeer pizza, sorry Rudolph, but the prices were the real shocker. A sandwich cost as much as a steak dinner back home. My wallet openly wept. Eating out became a strategic mission. Even a granola bar felt like a luxury. Coffee, though, was a saving grace. Strong, plentiful, and almost worth the price. The real highlights were simple, warm bakeries, fresh bread, and skålbrød, a sweet bun with custard and coconut. These little comforts were pure joy after a roller coaster of pickled fish and gamey meats. Sometimes the best travel moments are the small, delicious ones, especially when your taste buds need a break. In Norway, sugar and warmth became my refuge. Norwegians are polite but reserved. Starting a conversation felt like an archaeological dig. A friendly, hello, got a brief, hey, weather talk earned a nod. But break through and you find warmth, wit, and dry humor. These rare moments of connection offered a glimpse into real Norwegian life. Their love of the outdoors, for luftliv, is no joke. People hike and ski in weather that would send most running for blankets. There's order, competence, and a work-life balance that feels almost alien to an American. Maybe all that quiet contemplation and brisk walking is the secret, or maybe they're just too cold for drama. Either way, it was food for thought, usually consumed while wearing 5 layers. After all the freezing waiting and questionable fish, was it worth it? The Northern Lights were spectacular, if sometimes faint, life-changing. Maybe not. But the stories, the mishaps, the blurry photos, the comedy of survival are the real souvenirs. Would I do it again? Ask me in July when my bank account and toes have recovered. There's a strange badge of honor in enduring the uncomfortable and coming out mostly intact. Chasing the Northern Lights was cold, expensive, baffling, and unforgettable. I saw the sky dance, ate things I couldn't pronounce, and survived, and that's definitely something to tell the grandkids if they're wearing enough thermal gear.